Take your life back. Take your life back.
Hello folks, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I just want to share my story with my situation back in 1981 in the United States Marine Corps. I was sitting in a chapel during boot camp, and a chaplain tapped me on the shoulder and asked me to come into his quiet room. As I was walking into his quiet room, I had no idea what he wanted from me. It was then that God was setting my life in motion. So the chaplain sat me down and he says, "Ralph, I've noticed that you like to help people, you motivate people, you're always walking around with a smile. And I wanted to know," this is the chaplain saying this to me, "I wanted to know, Ralph, would you like to volunteer and become a lay leader?" And of course, I had no idea what a lay leader was. So he explained to me what a lay leader was. It's somebody that is a liaison between the recruits and the chaplain. So when the recruits have issues, problems, or anything like that, they go to the lay leader, and they go to the chaplain as the lay leader to let the chaplain know of the situations that are happening. It was then in 1981 that God already had a plan for me, and when there from that point on was that God realized that no matter how long it would take for me to achieve what God already knew what was going to happen to me, He would let me go down into the worst extremes in life. So from 1981 as a lay leader, and I'm going to show you the medal now with a lay leader, the front and the back. This is the back of the medal, and then the front looks like this. So in 1981, at Paris Island, South Carolina, when I became a lay leader, God already had my life set in motion. But again, He wanted me to set my own course in life. So I went down the years and the course of my life and did some of the worst things possible to my own body through alcoholism. God already said to Himself, well, I'm going to wait for Ralph to get close to hitting rock bottom. So from 1981 until 2011, which is 30 years, God came to me again and He said, Ralph, are you ready to continue helping other people? That's when I formed Mastic Beach Outreach 2011, and what that was is for older people and mentally and physically challenged people, that my wife and I would help them by giving them clothing, food, possibly, like in one case, tires for someone's car. And so God said, okay, he is getting better, but he's still not ready to do what I really wanted him to do. So in 2011, I continued my alcoholism to the point of 10 to 15 shots a day. As time went further, two years down the road, it became worse and worse with my alcoholism. In 2013, God finally put His big hand on my head and says, are you ready now? That is when I hit rock bottom. June 22nd, 2013, I reached out and I finally admit that I had an alcohol problem. It was then when God lifted me up and set my life in motion for today, September 2nd, 2014. So from 2013 until 2014, I continue educating myself and you, others, through my websites, through my videos on how to battle with addiction. And God saw this, and He said to Himself, Ralph is still continuing helping people. So in between 2013 and 2014, as time was going by, and I proved to God that I was really reforming myself, that God introduced me to Dr. Luis Gonzalez. I had been toying with the idea about becoming a substance abuse counselor until I ran into an article about recovery coaching. So I thought it was very ironic that God had planted Dr. Luis Gonzalez from Starting Point, that's StartingPointMN.com, 844-414-8444, into my life. Dr. Luis Gonzalez gave me the educational programming to turn me into a recovery coach. So while I was training for Dr. Luis Gonzalez to become a recovery coach, and today, my father comes from South Carolina to visit, and we're looking at my shrine, which my wife calls a shrine, which is all my Marine Corps ribbons and medals. And my father asked me, Ralph, what is this medal for? What is this particular medal for? And I then said to myself, here's where it all came together. I finally realized what that medal stood for and how it influenced me in my life. It was back in 1981 that God knew already that I would eventually, towards the middle or 60% of my life, be out to help other people, to continuously help people, to motivate people, to coach people. So it was from 1981 to 2011 that I ran my life to the ragged ends, to the pit of the worst. And then from 2011 to 2013, even worse than that. And then June 22nd, 2013, finally helped myself up with the grace of God, and in 2014 became an addiction recovery coach. And all that epiphany came to me due to my father asking me what this stood for. This particular silver medal, when he asked me that, it all finally came together, that God had bigger and better plans for me. And this is what I'm telling you, folks. There is a plan for you. No matter what the plan might be, you don't know what it is, but there is a plan for you. It's just a matter of you figuring it out. So why don't you let me help take your life back? Thank you. God bless you, and have a sober day.
Take your life back.
Hello, and welcome to Take Your Life Back with Ralf Friedrichs. Today we are going to touch on a subject that actually kind of turns things around a little. Usually what we talk about is the person that has the addiction or the person that needs to recover. But in the short segment that I will be doing today, we will talk about 22 things you should never say to someone who doesn't drink, because these are the answers you might get in return. But first, as I had mentioned in the previous 5 shows, I had said that I would make 31 promises for the next 31 shows. This is based on 31 promises by Joel Osteen that you should have in your lifetime. 31 declarations. Today is show 6 since I started doing this, which means this is my declaration number 6. Show 6. I declare a legacy of faith over my life. I declare that I will store up blessings for future generations. My life is marked by excellence and integrity. Because I am making right choices and taking steps of faith, others will want to follow me. God's abundance in surrounding my life today. This is my declaration for show 6. It's my 6th declaration out of the 31 promises that I will make throughout the next 31 shows, based on 31 promises that you should make through Joel Osteen. I'll read it again and then one more time at the end of the show. I declare a legacy of faith over my life. I declare that I will store up blessings for future generations. My life is marked by excellence and integrity. Because I am making right choices and taking steps of faith, others will want to follow me. God's abundance is surrounding my life today. This is my declaration for show 6, my 6th declaration. Folks, we are going to talk about the 22 things you should never say to someone who doesn't drink or who is sober, because you might not like the answers that you get. People that don't drink and are sober do it by choice. That is the basis of every show that I do. It's your time, your place, your day to choose sobriety over addiction. Before we jump right into this, let me give a shout out to Dr. Luis Gonzalez from Starting Point mn.com. That's startingpointmn.com. You can also give him a call at 844-414-8444. Dr. Luis Gonzalez has 2 entities to his business. His first side, like mine, is as a recovery coach. He will walk with you hand in hand 24 hours at a time into the future, from addiction to recovery. He, like myself, will never ever talk about your past. We are not counselors and we are not therapists. On the other side of his business, he will make you, or will attempt to make you, into a recovery coach. If you possess professionalism, personality, and passion, and you have some sort of addiction background, whether it's fighting your own, or maybe a family member or a co-worker, you are a great candidate to become an addiction recovery coach. What you need to do is to call him right now at 844-414-8444, and you can become an addiction recovery coach at startingpointmn.com. My 2 sides that I have is, the first side is where I give you directly, daily information about addiction and recovery. My website, www.clearviews.info, that's CLEARVIEWS.info, is purely based on information. It is the 411 of addiction and recovery websites. There you will find articles, pamphlets, whatever you might imagine you can find on addiction and recovery, you will find at clearviews.info. They are written by doctors, psychologists, and psychiatrists. I personally have over 210 videos that I have personally done in conjunction with my wife as the producer for you, for your teaching. But be aware, I don't purely do this for you. I do it for myself too, because this is my method of recovery, to daily make sure that I refresh my memory on who and what I possess, which is called addiction. But I have learned to live with it. My other side is another website called clearreform.com. Clear Reform is based on recovery. It's based on being a coach in your life to walk with you from your addiction to your recovery, kind of like what Dr. Luis Gonzalez does. You can find me there at clearreform.com. If you notice, both my websites start with the word clear. CLEAR stands for Community Lessons Empower Addiction Recovery. We, as a video community, as a community in our hometown, as a church community, as a global community, our lessons empower addiction recovery. Everybody has a story, and if we put all our stories and our lessons together, we can overcome addiction and we can learn to recover. You have clear and then views. The views is because you get to view all my information on addiction recovery. And on my other website, it's called Clear Reform. What is reform? Reform is to turn you from your addiction side totally around and transform you into a person that can live with their addiction. Clearviews.info, clearreform.com. Those are my two websites. So you have Dr. Luis Gonzalez at 844-414-8444. Reach out to him. He will help you either in the coaching aspect of making you into a coach or helping you walk from your addiction to recovery. Like I promised, these are 22 things you should never ever say to someone who does not drink, because be aware, alert. You might get these answers and you might not like them, and they are probably not meant to be sarcastic when people give you these answers. But you have to remember, people are sober, and in sobriety it is hard enough to have to go through that, to fight your addictions daily. To fight not drinking and not using drugs is a battle. What you don't need is for people to make or ask questions like this, because these are the answers you might get. Number one, you're so uptight. This is what you might hear. I may like to be in control, but just because I don't want a beer doesn't mean I can't relax or don't want to have fun. That would be an answer that you might hear when you think that somebody, because they're not drinking or doing drugs, is so uptight. Question number two, come on, live a little. What you might hear is, I am living. Alcohol isn't the only way to do so. Again, you might think that some of these answers are sarcastic, but you have to remember, you need to ask the proper question and you need to proceed with caution. Number three, all I want to see is you drunk. This might be the answer you might hear. Sorry to crush your dreams, but that's not happening. And if that's all you want in life, it's time to aspire for more. Again, you might take this as a sarcastic answer, but you have to remember, it's how you ask a question is how you're going to get the answer. Question number four, I'm going to get you to drink. Answer number four, no you're not. The same way I'm not going to get you not to drink. People get to make their own decisions, and trying to change mine on alcohol will be a failed endeavor. Do you see how he turned this thing around? Is you are going to get me to drink? No way, because I'm going to try just as hard to get you not to drink then. Number five. Question number five. Is it for religious reasons? Whether it is or it isn't, I don't think I'm refusing a beer should prompt an interrogation on my lifestyle or my beliefs. Sound sarcastic? Yes, but why did you have to ask that question in the first place? Number six. How are you doing this right now, sober? Answer number six. You're actually asking me how I'm talking to people at the party sober? Are you kidding? Really? Surely you have to, at some point. I don't know when this became a feat. Question number 7. You must think I'm such a mess. No, I don't think you're such a mess because you're drinking and I'm not. See, you asked the question, you must think I'm a mess because possibly you think that you have some sort of guilt conscious or you know that you're drunk. But do you see how the sober person answered with kindness? No, I don't think you're such a mess just because you're drinking and I'm not. Number 8, aren't you curious? No, if I were curious, I'd get myself drunk. Number 9, I will get you to drink. Gee, thanks. This is answer number 9. Gee, thanks, but save your $10 or however much the overpriced cocktails are here. You're not going to get me to drink. And it's foolish to even ask some of these questions. Do you think you're better than us? Is question number 10. Alcohol is a beverage, not a measure of morality or superiority or inferiority. So no, I just don't want to drink and I don't think I'm better than you. Question number 11. You must hate being places where people are drunk. If I hated being somewhere, I would leave, or I wouldn't come in the first place, is answer number 11. Question number 12. So, what do you do when you don't drink? Let me read that again. What do you do when you don't drink is question number 12. The same thing you do, minus a beer in hand, go to the bar, clubs, parties, etc. You can still go out and party drinking water or a seltzer and still have a good time. Question number 13. Don't you feel like you're missing out? If I felt like I was missing out, I'd drink. Plus, if you tell me stories of how hungover you are the next day and how it sounds pretty miserable and how you had a blackout and how you don't remember things, so I'm happy to pass on that. I want to have a clear mind. I want to continue sobriety. Be prepared for some of the answers for some of these ridiculous questions that you folks might ask. Number 14. How old are you? Are you even 21? It's flattering to think that I look that young, but yes, my ID does say I'm over 21, and yes, it's real. And if high school parties are any indicator, drinking isn't all too revealing of age anyway. How true that is. Number 15. What? Are you scared of it? Are you scared of alcohol and drugs? I'm not just interested. I'm just not interested, actually, but it's scary how intense your pressuring of getting me to drink and do drink and do drugs is. That's the scary part. Question number 16. Oh, we didn't invite you because you don't drink, and we thought you'd be bored. That's the reason I wasn't invited, maybe. That's pretty harsh and untrue. If I felt that way, I wouldn't come. But I actually wanted to see you because you're my friends and you act like them. So act like them. Question number 17. You're not drinking makes it hard for me to relate to you. What a question or remark. Try to get to know me, and I'm pretty sure you relate somewhere. Let me just move this over. Number 18. You must have so much dirt on everyone watching us sober. Of course, my favorite hobby is to collect blackmail and is the sole reason I don't drink. Actually, I'm not judging. Please stop judging me and pressuring me to drink. You must be so against this stuff. Just answer. Just because I don't want to have a drink doesn't mean I'm against alcohol entirely and I think it's the worst thing. It's wonderful for people who enjoy it. I just happen to not enjoy it. And I don't want to drink and I don't want to do drugs. And stop pressuring me. Number 20. I don't drink that much usually. Really? Okay, answer. You don't have to justify your drinking to me because I'm not you and you don't have to report to me. Question number 21 or remark 21. But really, why don't you? Won't you please just drink or do drugs with us? You can keep asking, but the answer is going to remain no. I'm just going to get more annoyed when you keep asking me to do these things. Last but not least, don't be lame. Answer. Oh no, the threat of being uncool. Grab me 5 shots pronto. Really not. Do you see, folks? When you ask questions that probably are ridiculous questions, you'll probably not get ridiculous answer, but answers that you might feel are some sort of sarcastic answers. But you have to put yourself in a position of the person going through sobriety that sits there daily, still trying to blend into society, still trying to have a good time with society, but without the alcohol and drugs. Think twice before you ask a stupid question or a question that might offend somebody in sobriety. Think twice. Let's do a little recap on this. These are 22 things you should never say to someone or ask someone who doesn't drink, because these are the answers you might get, you might not like, and they might sound sarcastic. You're so uptight. Why would you ask a question like that? Because you might hear this. I may like to be in control, but just because I don't want a beer doesn't mean I can't relax and have fun like you. Come on, live a little. Doing drugs and alcohol is not living a little, but here's what you might hear. I am. Alcohol isn't the only way to do so. All I want to see is for you to get drunk. Sorry to crush your dreams, but that's not happening. And if that's all you want in life, it's time to aspire for more. Sounds sarcastic, but it's a true answer. I'm going to get you drunk. That's my mission. No, you're not. The same way I'm not going to get you not to drink. Stop pressuring me. I hear this a lot. Is it for religious reasons? Whether it is or it isn't, I don't think refusing a beer should prompt interrogation on my lifestyle. As much as you drinking and doing your drugs, I interrogate you for. How are you doing this sober? You're actually asking me how I'm talking to people at a party sober? Are you kidding me? Really? Surely you have to, at some point, I don't know when it became a feat to be sober. You must think I'm such a mess. That's a guilty type of remark. No, I don't. I think you're such a mess. I don't think you're such a mess because you're drinking and I'm not. I'm not judging you. Aren't you curious to see how it feels to get drunk again or do drugs? No, if I was curious, I'd get myself drunk and fall into the old hangovers and blackouts and losing my family and financial structure. No, I'm not interested. Thank you very much anyway. I will get you to drink. Oh, no, you won't. Gee, thanks, but save your $10, however much of these overpriced cocktails or marijuana that you pay for. Do you think that you're better than us? Alcohol is a beverage, not a measure of morality, superiority. So no, I don't think me not drinking, me not doing drugs makes me better than you. It just makes me sober, and that's how I want to continue staying. You must hate being in places where people are drunk. If I hated being here, I wouldn't be here. You might hear that and you might take that to be sarcastic. So what do you want? What do you do when you don't drink? Gee, and you might hear this. I don't live? Of course not. You're not going to hear this. The same thing you do, minus the beer in hand. Go to the bar, clubs, and parties. Still go out and have a good time, but only drinking anything that doesn't have alcohol or not doing drugs. Don't you feel like you're missing out? If I felt like I was missing out, I'd drink. Plus, if you tell me stories of how hungover the next day you are, how you blacked out, how your wife or your husband walked out on you, how financial everything's crumbling, no, I'm not missing out on anything. I think you're missing out. You're missing out on sobriety. How old do you think I am? How old are you? Are you even 21 to be in this bar? Is that why you're not drinking? It's flattering to think I look young, but yes, my ID does say that I'm over 21 and it's real. And if high school parties are any indicator, drinking isn't too revealing of age anyway. Why don't you try alcohol and drugs? What are you scared of? I'm just not interested actually, but it's scary how intense you're pressuring me to drink and do drugs. That is very scary. Oh, we didn't invite you because you don't drink and we thought you'd be bored. Wow. That's pretty harsh and untrue. If I felt that way, I wouldn't come, but I actually want to see you because you are my friend, so act like them. You're not drinking makes it hard for me to relate to you. Oh, really? Because you're drunk or you're high makes it hard for you to relate to me. Try to get to know me, and I'm pretty sure you'll relate somehow or somewhere. You must have so much dirt on everyone watching us sober. Yes, it is my mission to come to these parties sober so I can blackmail you down the road. You might hear answers like that. You must be so against this stuff. Just because I don't want to have a drink, it doesn't mean I'm against alcohol entirely, and I think it's the worst thing. It's wonderful for people who enjoy it, who can handle it socially, but I am totally against drugs. I don't drink that much usually, really. You don't have to justify your drinking or doing your drugs to me. You are your own person. But really, why don't you? Won't you please just try this marijuana or this alcohol? You can keep asking, but the answer is going to remain no. I'm just not going to. I'm just going to get more annoyed by every time you ask me and pressuring me. Don't be lame. You think I'm lame. Oh no, please. That is so uncool. I better, you know what? Give me 5 shots. Not, I don't need to fit into your crowd. These are the 22 things that you should never ask someone who is going through sobriety, because these are 22 answers you might get. Do you see where I'm going with this? This was now turned around a little bit because people that are fighting daily with sobriety have it hard enough. And you don't need people to ask questions like this. If you go to a party, and I'm talking to the people that are not going through sobriety, that maybe should be. If you go to parties and you're looking for those sober people in the corner somewhere to ask these questions, shame on you. Go to the mirror in the bathroom, ask yourself these questions. Why do I feel like I have to drink so much? Why do I do drugs? Why is my life crumbling? Why don't my children respect me? Why did my wife or husband leave me? Why did I get fired from my job? Ask those questions. Wait till you see the answers you'll get. You might end up being like the person that's given you these sarcastic answers for your total ridiculous questions. Turn it around. You might have an alcohol or drug addiction and you don't even realize it. Or you realize it, but you don't want to admit it. Why? Do you really think that your drug and alcohol consumption is more important than your family, than your financial structure, than God, than your life, and more importantly, than your health? If you think your drugs and alcohol are more important than that, I don't even know what to say to you, then I feel bad for you. But if today, November 12th, 2014, you maybe can find 10% of yourself to finally admit that you have a problem, it's a step forward. It might not be 100% yet, but it's a step forward. I would love for everyone that's watching me, thousands in the audience, to tell me that they have a problem and they need help. Not to even tell me, to just admit to themselves. Because once you have completed that mission, that 50% of the mission, because there's another 50% I'm going to mention, that 50% of that mission, the admittance, the courage to finally say you have a problem, then the other 50% is reaching out to God. You need something to believe that has a more powerful thing than your own being, a more powerful direction than your own direction. Because if your direction was so good, your life wouldn't have crumbled. Your wife or husband would still be there. Your children would still respect you. But the other 50%, reaching out to God, in conjunction with the other 50%, is admitting you have a problem, will start molding you, reforming you into a whole new person. I, Ralph, have a problem. I am an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic that has been sober for quite some time and fights daily. I am Ralf Friedrichs, an alcoholic that fights daily, that does not need to hear questions like, is it for religious reasons? I don't need to hear, I'm going to get you drunk. I don't need to hear, you think I must be such a mess. I don't need to hear, do you think you're better than us? I don't need to hear that. Because be prepared for some of the answers. You need to change yourself. What you should do, go to that mirror and ask yourself some questions, like I mentioned it previously. Why am I such a mess? What can I do to change? How will my life change? Answers are, you're a mess because you're choosing to be a mess, because you're choosing not to admit you have a problem and you need help. How can you change? Admit you have a problem to yourself and accept God. God's help, He will guide and direct you. Then, continuously get educated. Use AA as a template for yourself if you want to, with the 12-step program. Utilize my methods. I have 16 alternative steps. My methods are daily, anywhere from 5 to 8 hours, folks. By helping you via video, by helping you via interviews, by helping you via my websites and my pages, I help myself. Do you see that? It is a selfish act on my end. I utilize you, my audience, to help myself. But don't you see how this works? Because when I help myself, I help you. When I help you, I help myself. It is us as a community, is our lessons that empower addiction recovery. Simple. If you're at a point where it's so bad that you need to utilize a treatment rehab center, do it. If you need that supervision, do it. On my website, www.clearviews.info, after page 6, you'll find all 50 states that have community centers. Not all of them might be listed for your location, so go to Google search bar, type in your location and treatment centers, and you will find them. But no matter if you use my method, AA, treatment center, or any other method, when and if you are ready to do this, maybe today, November 12th, 2014, include God. Let today be the first day of your new life. Let today be a new chapter in your book of life. We all have chapters. Every year of your life is a chapter. I just reached my 53rd chapter in my book. I would love to reach 100 chapters. But only God has the power, and He makes a decision how long my book of life will be. How long is yours? And more importantly, are we accelerating our chapters or our book of life to a quicker end by not taking care of ourselves? Do you personally constantly feel that by consuming alcohol and drugs, you're helping your body? Because you're not. But more importantly, don't you want to get to the end of your book one day with loved ones still around you, with your financials still in order, with people knowing you as a good person? For an example, yesterday was Veterans Day. I'm a veteran in the United States Marine Corps, and I've gotten so many emails or comments on Facebook. Thank you for your service. But one stands out very much in particular, and it's to a good friend of mine, Michelle, down in Virginia. Her remark hit home, and I'll quote it. Thank you for your service and how you serve now. Think about it. My service to my country back in the 80s, and my service now is because I help you to help me. Unquote. Thank you for your service and how you serve now. Thank you, Michelle, for that remark. That will always be within my heart, that remark, that comment. That comment will be within me. It is comments like that that lift me up, that make me appreciate for everything I do, because it takes a lot to do what I do. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money. And what do I get in return? I get sobriety, worth more than any money in the world. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars for treatment centers, like some of the Hollywood stars. Yet they come out and they go back right to doing what they do. But my method works. because I am daily living the life of sobriety through educating myself. Daily, hourly. It never ends. Not like some programs where you're an hour and a half or so. It never ends. So Michelle, down in Virginia, thank you so much. Remember what she says. Thank you for your service as a veteran, and thank you for your service now as a civilian, as a soldier of sobriety, as a soldier for God. Thank you, Michelle. Folks, this is what it all comes down to. It is how you write your chapters in your book of life. That's all it comes down to. You folks all need to understand that one day we will all be judged on how we lived our life. Whether you lived it as an alcoholic, a drug pusher, a sober person, a criminal, the list can go on and on. You'll all be judged, including me. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to make changes while you still can? Changes like sobriety, being a better human. I always say this, remember, there's going to be a day, a time, a month, and a year that our book of life comes to an end. And if the changes aren't made prior to that, the changes aren't going to be made. The changes should include you being a well-balanced human, a good role model, a good spouse, a good parent, and a good human. Those are the changes that need to be made. For every breath that you take right now on this beautiful earth, there is someone somewhere taking their last breath. They didn't have a chance to change. And if they did, that's great. But what if they didn't? They didn't have that chance. For every time you open and close your eyes, there is someone that's closing their eyes for the last time. If they didn't change, they didn't have that chance. If my show, Take Your Life Back, could reach into the jungles of Africa, lives could be changed merely on the fact of educating people. Unfortunately, my show only has a reach so long. But I'm here to tell you folks that changes are only going to be made if you make the changes. They don't just drop out of the sky. There is no person that can force you to change. It is only you that makes that change. And if you think by saying tomorrow is the day I'll make the change, think again, you might not have it tomorrow. Do it today, November 12th, 2014. Let the sunshine into your heart and into your home. And folks, you will get nothing, and I mean nothing but positive results. For the people that are watching me, that daily hear that they're an alcoholic, that they're full of drugs, that they're no good, I'm here to tell you, no matter what you're going through, God loves you. No matter what you're going through, God wants you to change. And I can tell you right now, no matter what people tell you how bad you are a good person that has a situation called addiction. But your addiction can be worked with and lived with your decision on change today, November 12th, 2014. Let God guide and direct you, and you will see nothing but changes in your life. Changes that will totally amaze you. Maybe not immediately, but within time. You'll see changes, relationships, changes financially, changes physically and mentally, changes spiritually. Those are changes that will happen with your acceptance of God's guidance and direction. Because your life is out of control. You need whatever higher power to help you. Me of all people, a couple years ago would have said you're totally ridiculous if I would have listened to my own tape. Within my own family, there are certain brothers and sisters that years ago were telling me that they will pray and ask God for guidance and direction, and I laughed. I said, God's not going to help you with your bills. God's not going to help you with any decision. Why do you need to pray? You just make your mind up and do it. It is now, since I have learned differently, that I can sit here and proclaim to you they were right all along. Things become better. Things look better. Positive things will appear out of nowhere with the decision of change. You don't need alcohol and drugs to have a good time. You don't need alcohol and drugs to be a better person, to be a happy person. You don't. What you need is to love yourself and to love being sober. If you have those two things, everything around you will come together. Your family will be back together with you, hopefully, if it's not too late. Your financials will get better because you're not wasting your money on drugs and alcohol. Your physical appearance will get better because you're not putting poison into your system. And your spiritual mind will become better because you're reaching out to God for guidance and direction. Start today, November 12th, 2014. Always remember, never ever say tomorrow is a guarantee, because it's not. Start doing the right thing and start doing it today. I am here 24/7 via text 631-599-0218. I am here on my hotline 844-405-HELP to talk to you. I am here with information on clearviews.info, which is I call the 411 in addiction recovery information, with over 210 videos that I have done. I am here to help you as an addiction recovery coach on clearreform.com. I am here with my Facebook pages, my open groups, my live interviews. If anyone wants to talk to me and be on one of my shows, I will have you set up Skype if you don't have it, and we will talk via computer, and I will put that on my show. I will let you say whatever you need to say, within reason, of course, because profanity is not allowable on my show. But the Take Your Life Back show is an open forum for people like you and for me and anyone else that you know, and it's all for free. The only thing I ask for return is an open mind and sobriety if you can. I understand relapses happen. I had 6 or 7. I am not one of those people that will sit there and say, oh, a relapse is a choice, because it's not. It's a weak moment that a human has. In the Bible, God forgives. Certainly, we as humans can forgive each other for relapsing. But the main thing is to pick yourself up and continue in sobriety. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Remember, a sober today, I guarantee you, makes for a better tomorrow. And if you believe what I tell you in your head, it will become clear in your heart. It will become so clear like the sunshine in your heart and your home. You'll see nothing but positive results. Stay away from negativity and the naysayers. Reach out to God and ask for guidance and direction. More importantly, or just as importantly, is reach down into your gut and admit you have a problem, and let me help you take your life back. May God bless you and have a sober day.
Take your life back.
Good morning and welcome to Take Your Life Back. Today is September 4th. It's about 3:30 in the morning. I just want to share with everyone something this morning. I saw a demonstration maybe about a month ago in reference to our dark side and the power of prayer. If you continuously pray over and over and over again, things will eventually become clear. Although that a lot of times when we pray to God, we don't get answers right away. But if you continuously pray over and over, things become clear. So the demonstration involves this bottle, and if you see, the inside of this bottle is all dark liquid. That represents our dark side. And this cap represents our limitations. So we as a human, which is the bottle, have limitations, which is this cap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bottle into the sink, and we're going to do a demonstration. So let me put that there. I'm going to turn the camera around so that everybody can see it. And hopefully You folks can all see it now. Okay, so you see the bottle. I'm going to turn the water on. Okay, so now everything inside is dark, which represents our body and our inside. And what I'm going to do, and this clear water represents our prayer. So you see the continuous water running. I'm going to now, as the prayer, as we're praying, I'm going to lift our limitations, which is the cap. And we're going to slowly add our prayer to this. We all go through dark times. I mean, I've had some dark years. I just didn't understand everything that was happening. I'm going to admit it that I'm not a super patient person. I tend to want answers right away and know what's happening and what I can do to solve it. I don't like not being happy and confident about things. It's just not who I am. But when I get down, it takes a lot for me to get back up. If we pray for a sign, which is this, the water is prayer, but just give up because we feel like God's already heard our prayer and He knows what we need, but He hasn't answered. It's kind of like when we were kids in the toy store and we kept asking our mom and dad for toys, but we never got any results. Yeah, it never worked for me either, but you get what I mean. Anyway, that is exactly what's happened to me in the past years. I have prayed and prayed and prayed, but haven't really gotten any results. The answer I thought God would give me, and especially in the time of frame, I thought my problems would be fixed, which was all before 2013. Then in 2013, my cap of limitations was lifted. This is the cap, remember this now, was lifted off the bottle, which is my body. Here is where I will just show you how that worked for me. So basically we all have dark sides, which is what's in the bottle, was in the bottle. We are facing, and we take the limitations off our mind, which was the cap I lifted. Don't limit what He can do because we have to just trust in the Lord. That sometimes even after we pray and we just give up. And it is often why we get defeated. However, even though nothing has really changed, we just keep praying. That's the prayer, the sign of the prayer, the flowing Lord. Just keep praying and never ever give up praying. And if we do that and devote ourselves completely to the Lord, He will pull us through. The dark times will go away and we just have to be patient. I know it's hard. Being patient truly is a virtue. But by never ever giving up on prayer, it's going to show you that God will eventually answer all your prayer. And the more we pray, which is this water going into the bottle, one day everything will become clear. You see how clear this is now? That is the power of prayer. Folks, I think that demonstration says it all. If we had a bottle which represents our body, and the bottle, everything was dark on the inside, and the water coming out of the faucet represents the prayer, day after day after day, just keeps adding to the darkness which was in the bottle. Eventually all that prayer has to turn what was dark inside this bottle, which is our body, has to change and become as clear as this water in here. That, folks, is the power of prayer.
Take your life back.
Comes a time in every life when nothing is as it seems. Things can't stay as they are, and there's no comfort in anything. It feels like a part